Friends, colleagues, and listeners, here we are early in the new year, 2025. My God, time is absolutely flying by. We've got an old friend and guest of the show. We've got Arpad Szakal, who's the principal consultant with Cormis Partners. Always lovely to see you, Arpad.
Great to see you, Chris. Great to see you. Happy New Year to you as well.
And to you, my friend. Any New Year's resolutions?
Uh, Maybe to contribute to the aviation community more, maybe on LinkedIn, on podcasts. So hence we're talking. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Oh, well, you started off well, my friend. Right, so now the subject matter that we're going to just have a quick discussion on today is about AI. So the opportunities and the challenges for AI, because everybody's talking about it and everybody says that they're using it or they're starting to use it. People are recruiting now for AI specialists within their business and it's a good thing. It's a great thing, but it can also be a little bit of a stone in the shoe if people aren't using it properly. So what I just want to get from you is which areas in aviation now do you think are of critical importance to actually use AI to enhance what we do and why we do it?
So the sector is actively investing in AI and machine learning technologies, and not only to improve operational efficiencies and passenger experience, but also to shape the future of career development within the sector. So
Yeah.
some of the most concrete examples, Chris, to that is AI-powered recruitment and talent management. Lufthansa would be a really good example. They utilize AI in their recruitment process to screen applications, to evaluate their qualifications, and even predict the likelihood of the candidate succeeding within the organization, basically. And they are doing quite a lot when it comes to the career development space as well. They leverage a lot of these AI tools to identifying emerging leaders, emerging competencies that they might need in the future as well, which allows them um, to prioritize development programs for their employees. Basically, I mean, I work in executive search, so I'm closest to all things recruitment and talent related. But AI plays a really important role when it comes to training and upskilling programs as well. AirAsia would be a good example. They have an AI-driven pilot training program. Basically, they use this tool to in their flight simulation programs, basically, and they use a lot of machine learning to adapt to their pilot skills, providing personalized training scenarios based on real-time performance, essentially. So it's not only limited to pilots, obviously. It's they are expanding it to other parts of the business, corporate roles as well, maintenance, um, um, operational roles as well, and um, that's another area that I would highlight is predictive maintenance and AI in operations. Um, how do we save money? How do we improve safety? How do we allow the organization to anticipate and address maintenance issues before they become critical? That's where we are seeing most of these emerging AI tools being applied in day-to-day sort of practice. For this,
Oh, okay.
Delta would be an example. Basically,
All
they're
right. Well, let me
doing it
ask
very
you
well.
something because, it's all we're talking about a lot of generic points and
Yeah,
terms, and a lot of people don't. They hear it and they listen to it, but it's just noise. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
let's just pick out a couple and let's see how how we do with that. So, right, an area that I find still surprising is the lack of focus and understanding with risk assessments and risk registers, worst case scenarios. So, straight away, I'd be thinking if there was enough effective data fed in and the prompts were good enough, you'd actually be able to come up with an industry sort of generic set of common risks and best mitigating actions and what types of proactive self-assessment checks you can do. I could see that as being a great help because the quality of some of the risk assessments and risk registers and cappers, etc., is very poor. It's more of an admin tick box exercise so that certain departments can show the senior management teams that they're addressing 60% or 70% of non-conformances or errors, etc. But it's percentages. It doesn't mean that the critical few are actually being addressed at all. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah, it does. It does. And AI contributes quite significantly to improving operational safety by assessing and mitigating the risks during flights, for example, flight path optimization, incident prediction, um, um, pilot and crew training. That's another area, Chris, that yeah, I mean, risk-based air traffic control, like air traffic
Yeah,
management
but
would be another one.
Arpad, I got
Yeah,
all that, and that's high
yeah,
level.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking now for somebody which is the majority of the people on the ground. They're hearing their managers talking about we're doing this with AI, we're doing machine learning. They're not seeing it, Arpad. So
uh-huh,
how are
uh-huh,
they able to see something that makes sense to them for the feet on ground activities? Okay, because that's what they're not seeing. Also, there's an awful lot of fallback on LMS and online
yeah,
online awareness, which is linked to compliance and regulatory training. But again, I've been doing a lot of exercises recently whereby you get the feedback from customers or you get the
yeah,
feedback from the clients, and they say, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, you give them a health check survey or questionnaire, and they say, yeah, yeah, we do this, we do this, we do this. Then when you say, okay, that's your responsibility to do it, but now from an accountability perspective, how deep are you actually checking to see whether it's in place, it's been validated, it's verified, it's making an impact? And that's where it falls down because when you go down and you speak to some of the people on the floor, they say, oh, no, no, we do it. It's a tick box exercise. And if we get it wrong the first time, we get a second chance or a third chance. But there's no retention of knowledge or practical checkouts, Arpad. So do you
yeah.
think the lean is too far towards something that again looks like an activity that warrants a tick box rather than having an impact on the business? And you mentioned earlier about customer service.
Yeah.
Again, I'm getting so many people contacting me telling me, all I want to do is deliver a couple of hand deliverables and I have to sit behind two or three artics to wait in a queue. There doesn't seem to be a lot of logic and common sense when it comes down to customer expectation.
It's the best way to embrace this change and adopt to these new technologies, Chris, is basically, especially those working in operations, customer service, basically should be to familiarize themselves with how basically these various AI tools are shaping their roles. I think there's a lot, I think education, courses, certifications, basically whatever it is, whether it's AI, machine learning, data analytics, whatever the role is, these skills are becoming essential for career growth in the sector. Basically, if you work in customer services, for example, basically your ability to progress within the organization is going to be determined by your ability to learn these tools quickly and really understand how can you take advantage of them and how can you really make your life in your current role easier by leveraging these. And I think it's educating the customer as well. Basically, like why are we using this? How is this impacting the customer journey? How are I think it organizations and individuals need to be very proactive when it comes to education, when it comes to really like um, uh, conveying the message to the user as well. How is it making their life easier and more, I don't know, practical,
Yeah.
seamless,
Yeah.
rather than just, hi, we're using this, hope you like it, and hope you're going to be able to do it. Basically, I think it's a lot of outreach, education. You need to be also interested in this. I think it's basically this is one of the things that differentiate top performers from those who are just doing a job, whether it's customer services, operations, whatever it is the interest to develop your skill set in a new technology, in a new skill set, basically. I think, and also on the customer side, as you and I, as a airline customer, for example, I mean, yeah, I want to know. I mean, how is it impacting me? Can I do it more efficiently? Can I do it for, I don't know, in less time, less money, whatever it is, basically the implication of the tool is basically. So it's um yeah, it's a lot of self-initiative as well, basically. If there's no self-initiative on the part of the customer or on the part of the employee, well, it's tough. It's basically that's yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So again, now just so that it's if people are listening and they're thinking to themselves, oh, my managers are telling us this, and people are telling us we're doing this on a pure practical basis. On a pure practical basis, now, Arpad, how can AI help? How can AI help somebody that's doing an operational role for the last 2 to 5 years, somebody that's coming into the business who wants to learn quicker? How can it actually and practically help them?
Yeah. So it really depends on which part of the ecosystem we are talking about. But um, I think automating repetitive tasks, for example. Basically, a lot of people, especially in like highly operational roles, they do a lot of data entry, a lot of processing, and a lot of these AI tools can automate things like data collection, data entry, data organization, reducing the chance of manual errors, freeing up time
Yeah,
for higher value activities. That would be a good concrete example. Report generation, obviously, when it comes to whether you're dealing in um, ground handling, ground services, whatever it is, cargo operations, report generation would be
yeah,
another good area. AI can automatically generate operational reports, analyzing real-time data, and predefined metrics. That would be another sort of concrete example. Decision support, Chris. I mean, predictive analytics,
yeah,
modeling, forecasting outcomes, basically like what is the demand, what is the supply chain disruption going to, how is it going to impact our operation? Scenario simulation, like what if scenarios, enabling the operations managers to test out strategies and mitigating risks without actually being in a real world scenario.
yeah,
Basically, risk assessment would be another one. You mentioned that previously, evaluating the dynamic
yeah.
scenarios, basically.
And
So,
that
yeah,
and that's what I like, because what I'm finding is that it makes a lot of sense that you explain to people, look, we're taking out the repetitive tasks and the burdensome tasks and at the end of the day, the boring admin, right? So that's
yeah,
nice. If you can replace that, and then you're able to upskill people so that they're able to address the higher value activities, as you said,
yeah.
I think that makes an awful lot of sense. The decision reporting and also the scenario simulations, what I don't see is people actually focusing on that. So whether it's to do with managers not appreciating what they can do or how they can use that as a competence development, but it's not being used, Arpad.
Hmm.
So consequently, people are seeing themselves being thrown into other areas of the operation or the activity, and they've got a basic understanding of why, but they're not being given extra tools to educate them in the whole storyline. And I think the skills base of so we say the AI engineers or the AI implementers isn't at the point where it's able to convince and promote to the base, to the base workforce, so that they can see that there is a genuine benefit and improvement in this moving forward.
And this is the education element. Basically, the organization needs to go out of their way to basically
Yeah,
just make sure that they meet the various stakeholders internally, let them know what it is that they are doing, how is it going to improve their performance. For example, another example, because I was just thinking, performance monitoring and optimization, that's another area where we are seeing a lot of these tools being applied. KPI tracking, tracking the key performance indicators, highlighting areas of for improvement, providing actionable insights to enhance efficiency. Process improvement is another area, basically identifying bottlenecks and recommend ways to streamline workflows. But these are the things that in internal courses, internal certifications, I mean, you need to get the workforce engaged. And I think probably the best way to do it is, I don't know, workshops, um, proper sort of in-person training, real-time training, because otherwise, people, I agree with you, people are disengaged. They don't know how it's going. Is it a threat? Is it an
yeah,
opportunity? Are you trying to replace me? Are you trying to make my life easier? And I think it's basically you need to communicate it to them that no, we're not trying to get rid of you. We are trying to utilize you in another way, in a more value-add way, rather than you doing a lot of monotone tasks that you don't even enjoy, basically.
yeah.
So that's the yeah.
So what would you see now, Arpad? Just rounding up. What would you see as the the major threats to this positive opportunity, and also, again, a flip side, the major opportunities to this positive opportunity, because there's an awful lot of talk about it, and no real hard facts that are coming out, so that you can evidence what the benefits are. And at the end of the day, if somebody is doing, like you mentioned Lufthansa,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
if people are doing something so well, are they doing too much of it? So they'll end up drowning people with it? Or are they having a nice balance so that it meets the expectations? And if so, and if they're successful, where is the best demonstrated practices, or where is the checklist of what an average GHA warehouse or ramp should actually be able to produce from AI at this moment in time, and where should they aim to be in a year or 2 years? Where's where can people see guidelines or expectations of what should be done or could be done?
Yep. Yep. Um, so first, getting back to the challenges,
Yeah.
I think because we are talking about aviation, and I think things like reliability is just critical. I mean, AI systems
Oh,
are
yes.
still being developed. They depend on quality and quantity of data, basically. So
Yeah.
inaccuracies can happen, biased data can lead to faulty risk assessments, things like that. So it's um, also accountability. I mean, it's the whole industry is based on basically like um, 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 assigning responsibilities for decisions, basically like who is going to be responsible for all these gray areas. Cyber security, that's a huge area as well,
Yes.
basically. I mean, ethical considerations as well. I mean, there are so many gray areas, there are so many things that haven't been thought about yet, that I think those are some of the biggest challenges to really integrating all these good tools and AI powered systems and cameras and whatever. I think it's um, reliability, accountability, ethical considerations. I think those would be the ones that I would
Yeah.
highlight. Um, I think my suggestion to someone who is currently working in whether it's operations, um, um, engineering, whatever it is, I think the best way to enhance your skill set and to develop a holistic sort of
Yeah.
skill set is to seek out opportunities to lead AI-driven projects. Basically, you need to get your hands dirty. It's not going to be a course, a certification, a university degree. You need to, if you're an aspiring leader, Chris, you should look for opportunities to get involved with AI-driven projects, which could involve taking a lead role or initiative um, um, on things like how do we integrate an AI tool into an operational workflow, for example. Basically, how do we develop strategies to use AI to enhance customer experience, for example, basically. So those are some of the best ways to really just not only talk about these things, but get your hands dirty and make sure that you are identified within your organization as someone who is the go-to person for all things new technology related, basically. Like,
Yeah.
how do we use this for troubleshooting, improving the operational efficiency, things like that. Basically, that's
Yeah. And like I say, just for myself, I mean, the amount of information you can get and the way you can structure it is fantastic. It's incredible,
yep,
amazing.
yep,
And
yep,
the more you get used to the, correct and valid prompting, the better the outcomes. Like I said, my only concern is that it's a little bit like if you throw a pebble into a pond, you
yep,
see the ripples. If you throw a brick in, you
yep,
see the impact of the ripples. If you throw something even bigger in, it soaks everything else around it. And it's that controlled understanding and that
yep,
controlled implementation that I think guidelines or best practices, or a sort of a data pool of successes whereby people can do it under a controlled environment to see if they're happy with the way it comes out, and then the next logical steps appear. Because I think if everybody just jumps in at once,
yep.
there's going to be an awful lot of there's an awful lot of splashing going around, and then
Uh,
you got to dry up afterwards.
Exactly. And this is why it needs to be developed for the if you're a pilot, it's that. If you're working in
Exactly.
operations, it's
Yeah.
that. If you're working in the corporate headquarters, then it's that. So I think um, training and upskilling programs need to be tailor-made, and whether it's ground crew, pilots, customer service agents,
Yeah.
I think it's not a yeah, it's going to be fit for all. No, it's basically tailor-made what is applicable to whom, and providing these career development tools accordingly. I think
Yeah.
it's as you said, there's no other way. But
Yeah.
upskilling is the only way, Chris, because without it, um, you can be in danger indeed. Because if you don't develop the skill set, if you don't develop the mindset,
Yeah.
how can I automate my role? How can I make things
Yeah.
more efficient, streamlined? Then you are indeed in danger,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
No, I agree. And at what level and at what
Yep,
point in the SLT groups within the business, do you sort of start to include an awareness and then an engagement and then a regular use so that
yep,
everybody in the business has got a little bit more knowledge of how it works, so it's
yep,
not just a flood or a tsunami that suddenly comes on everybody.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah. No, it's a
exactly.
very interesting subject,
Yep,
isn't it, Arpad? It's it's one of those, it's being on the cusp of how to implement it effectively and then look at what the benefits have been. But it's a little bit like most of the things that we bring in. It always comes in for the right reasons, but if it's not used correctly, it can actually then cause
exactly,
more problems than not being used, you know?
exactly, exactly. I think that's the major challenge. How do we utilize it? How can it make things easier rather than how can we cut costs and how can we get rid of a lot of it? But organization thinks that way basically. So people who can be replaced, unfortunately, will be basically.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
um, that's the danger. Yeah,
yeah. No, no, no. I'm
yeah,
with you there.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
with you there. But it's an incredibly exciting time for, like you say, for people who want to get into it.
Yeah.
It's lovely, huh?
Exactly, exactly.
Great
If you're looking
opportunity.
for a way to get into leadership positions, for example, this would be anything digital, anything AI related, anything
Yeah,
um, new technologies related. So things that other people are not knowledgeable about. I mean, that's the way to do it, basically, to become the go-to person for something that others are not familiar with.
exactly. Yeah, the
It's
differential.
the,
Yeah,
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 exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
But it is amazing what it can do. Absolutely
Yeah, yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
good luck. 'Cause I know you're heavy into it, and you know how to use it with regards to recruitment and competence advancement, and upskilling, cross skilling, etc. So good on you,
Okay.
Arpad. Always a pleasure to have you on board.
No, thank you for the opportunity, and really good to see you again after 1 or 2 year break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And nice to see you doing
yeah,
well with your New Year's resolution. So
yeah.
appreciate
No,
it.
thank you so much. Thank you, Chris, for the
Thanks,
opportunity.
Arpad.
Yeah,
Cheers
thank you.
now. Bye.